this is almost going to sound way too simple, but sometimes we just need to breathe. And I know we've talked about breathing exercise. I'm not even talking that. I'm just saying sometimes in just stepping away and just take a breath. If you want to get into like the psychological sigh or whatever, you can definitely do that. You could do that. Okay. But I'm not talking any of that. I'm just talking about stop for a second and just breathe. Give yourself a moment to step away. Welcome back to another week of the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast. I'm John Adams.
And I'm Crystal Nevedale.
And today we want to talk about micro breaks. And Crystal, we were talking before this, but this one actually feels very appropriate for my life right now because I've just been extremely busy and busy in a good way. One of the things that probably I need to stop doing that would probably help the most is just burning the candle at both ends. I need to start taking little micro breaks. I need to take a big break, but I can't do that right now. So, Crystal, let me ask you before I really start down a tangent. When you have those days where it just feels like everything's coming at you at once, we get it. It's great. Things are going amazing. But are you actually good at like stopping for a few minutes and just breathing, taking a break, like giving yourself that pump the brakes moment?
I used to be really good at it. Like I used to take the moments and just take 10 deep breaths, push myself away from my work table, like just connect for a minute. And now this year has been the busiest year in business for me. I've worked 7 days a week, so it's been very hard to just stop. But I'll tell you, not to bring Emily into the conversation, but just like yesterday, everything was like piling up. The kids, work, all these other things that we need to do. And I was kind of short with her, and she was drilling glass to help me get caught up. I was kind of short with her. She didn't say anything. I was up front dealing with customers. She packed everything up, put everything away nice and neat, and left. And I was like, well, I think she might tell me I need to take a break.
Yeah.
So I called her and I said, hey, let's, go do X, Y, and Z. And she says, are you sure you would like my company? I said, yes. I said, I'm just overwhelmed. There's like everybody's coming from different angles, needing different things from me. And I'm just not taking the time to breathe. So yes, I've been not as good as I used to be for sure, but I'm on the way of fixing that too.
But the good thing is you recognize that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's huge because sometimes I don't. Like I try, but there's times when I'll be short with Cindy or something and I just, I don't recognize it, because I'm just in the flow and I'm just trying to get things through, right? And you got to take those moments and you got to, and that recognition that you had, that's something I need a lot of, we'll just say. But recently in my life, things are going amazing. This is exactly what I've been wanting, right? But now I have to take my own advice and figure out where that balance is now. Because I went from 0 to 1,000,
right.
Where normally you're small climb. I have a feeling that it's going to slow down quite a bit after we get through this initial build for my current client, but I'm going to ride this wave, right? So I just got to find that balance. But here's what I think happens when we get that way, right? When somebody says that you need to take a break, we all picture, like you said, let's go do something. Let's take the afternoon off. I'm going to go somewhere, extravagant. I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to spend hours doing something for myself. And a lot of times, because we don't actually have the time to do that, we just don't do anything, right? And I'm guilty of that more than anything. Cindy will say, well, let's go, do this. And I'm like, well, I got to get this done for him and da, 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 da. Well, it doesn't have to be this big, elaborate, like, go do. Just take a few seconds and walk away from what you're doing at that moment, whether you're working with, building your stuff, or, you've had a really hectic day in the store and you got all these customers in. You get 2 seconds, instead of going right back to drilling glass or putting things together, just step outside for a second, feel the air, take a breath, but we always feel like we're going to be behind if we do that, right? And I've been really guilty of that.
Yeah, I was listening
Go ahead.
to an interview really quick with Steve
Yeah.
Jobs, and he was saying how he separates his day in like little tiny increments because that break in between makes those little pockets of work way more productive because the overwhelm isn't there anymore. So I mean, I tried to practice that in the past for sure,
Yeah.
but definitely fell off that wagon. Like separating your workday into like 2 or 3 parts and
Yeah.
making it more productive.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I just watched the movie with Ashton Kutcher where he played Steve Jobs yesterday. I took a little break and I said, I need something. And that was kind of the perfect thing because he was that, overbearing, overwhelming kind of like, this is how it needs to go, and he didn't even, when his daughter was born, Lisa, he didn't even, want anything to do with the kid. He's like, this is going to ruin my life. And then towards the end of his, not end of his life, but, later in his life, he realized that, okay, you know what? I'm a D-bag. Let me fix this, and he fixed his
Right.
relationship with his daughter. I think actually she's kind of the reason why the iPod, the original iPod even existed, because she was like listening to her Walkman and, man, it'd be nice if, you could, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, So we can learn from so many different places and people.
Right.
And that's kind of funny that you were listening to an old recording from him and I watched that video yesterday. So maybe this is kindred here.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We're not talking about fixing our entire lives. We're not talking about fixing our entire days, right? We're talking about interrupting those long moments of just burning the candle at both ends. Taking 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you got 5 minutes, take it, right? But do you feel, and we've kind of touched on this, but do you feel that sometimes we kind of make taking care of ourselves harder because we think that it has to be all or nothing? That's the whole, Living 95 philosophies. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It needs to be all or something. But do you feel that you catch yourself doing that sometimes, that, you know what, I can't right now because I just don't have the time to put into that. So if I don't have all the time to put into it, I'm not even going to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely that person.
Yeah.
I try not to be, but it's hard to balance that.
It is. And I think having these conversations where we can, let our listeners know that, we're all in this together. We all have those. I got to put my stuff on Do Not Disturb. I forgot because I've got messages coming through already at 7:40 a.m. But yeah, we all need to hear that. We listen to these podcasts, right? We listen to, people listen to us. We listen to, all these people that we kind of respect and we're like, man, they've got it all together, but none of us really do. Right.
We're all learning.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't care if, who you are, what podcast you're listening to, there's growth continual. Right. And let's just say they're doing amazing. They didn't start there. Right. So we all need to just understand that even when things look amazing, when things are going exactly the way you want it to go, you're having a great busy summer with your shop, my business is taking off, that we still need to stop and go, okay, what got me here? How did I get here? I got here because I did the right things to get here. I built slowly. I used balance. And don't forget that, right? Because then that's just going to push you back to where you were before, and it's not going to be a great thing. So let's start simple, right? First off, this is almost going to sound way too simple, but sometimes we just need to breathe. And I know we've talked about breathing exercise. I'm not even talking that. I'm just saying sometimes in just stepping away and just take a breath. If you want to get into like the psychological sigh or whatever, you can definitely do that. You could do that, okay? But I'm not talking any of that. I'm just talking about stop for a second and just breathe. Give yourself a moment to step away. You admitted, you got a little short with Emily. That moment of just stepping away and just maybe you don't, right? I get short with Cindy. Same thing, right? So taking that moment to just breathe. If you need those breathing exercises, if you need that special stuff, sure. You can do multiple different breathing exercises and you can go on YouTube and find a ton of them. But I'm just talking, take a moment, step away, and breathe.
I think this goes back to that feeling of urgency of like that
Yeah.
things need to be done when they don't really need to be done. And I feel like I just need a reminder sometimes. And honestly, not to be funny, but Emily is literally the human I needed. It's no joke. Like she is so calm and soft with her approach where I'm like, X, Y, and Z needs to be done, and she's like, but does it? But does it? And I'm like, okay, you're right. It doesn't all have to be done right now. But I think that's like the mom in me, the nurse in me, the business owner in me. Like I feel like I always have to guide everything, but I don't. Sometimes letting go of the wheel and allowing other people to help me through life is what I need to allow now.
Well, let's not to bring up something you mentioned pre-recording, but you were talking about your experience yesterday with the key being left behind for the motorcycle and you couldn't start it up, right? Because it's a key fob. And maybe that moment was meant, right? You were
Right.
going to be rushing off to the beach, not to relax, but to look for glass, right? And I get it. That's relaxing for you. You
Right.
enjoy it. I understand, but that's still work. But it gave you 3 hours to just chill. Like it
Yeah,
was
we just
prickly
laughed
grass, but
and
just,
laughed.
yeah. So sometimes I think that things happen. Well, a lot of times I think things happen for a reason, right? And I think that those are moments that we don't take those moments. So sometimes I think that the world gives us those moments, right?
I
Um,
totally believe that 100%. We
so
needed that quiet time and just time to connect without anything in the way of it,
yeah,
for sure.
no, that I think that you got to look at that glass half full moment, and that was huge. And it could have been very stressful. Oh, we don't have a key. We got to get this done. You could have been really frustrated. You could have been really overwhelmed. But instead of immediately freaking out, you just stopped and you laid on the prickly grass, right? You just took that time, right?
Right.
So those are those moments of intentional breath, right? And that's why I say I'm not talking about those, moments. I'm just talking about those moments of intentional breath, those just slowing down moments. We need those, right? And we don't need an app to tell you how to do it. That was a great moment right there. Oh, why won't the motorcycle start? Well, we don't have the key fob. We left it at home. Somebody's bringing it, right? So those are those moments that could have just been, you could have been yelling at each other. How could you forget about it? But no, it went nice. And those are the times that we need sometimes. Here's another one. This is kind of one of those moments, especially for me. We spend our entire day, all right, I do. You stare at a lot of customers and, you're putting things together, but I sit here and I stare at my screen all day long, right? Again, I'm loving this. This is what I've been trying to build. But there's something called that 20-20-20. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but every 20 minutes, just look at something about 20 feet away for around 20 seconds to just get your eyes off of here. And when I say taking your eyes off of here and looking at something 20 feet away, the reason why the 20 feet away really, really, really matters, because we don't want to take our eyes off of this screen and go,
Yeah.
that doesn't help us, right? So again, this
Do
isn't
you set a
everybody.
timer? Like that's like a so I've thought about doing that for every hour. Like every hour, like if I, because I'm never sitting for an hour, but if I was to like say I was sitting here, there's no customers and I'm working, then I would need something to remind me. At the shop, it's nonstop back and forth, back and forth. But I feel like when I'm in a moment where an hour alarm would be great to just get up, walk from here, walk into the living room, walk around, come back and finish. But
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we do need those little reminders because we are focused. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get hyper focused sometimes, and I'm really into what I'm doing. And any deviation from that, sometimes, but then sometimes if you do get up, you come back with better ideas. So
Yeah, so part of mine is ADHD. You know, I get hyper focused, but then if I leave that, I already know my brain is going to get red shiny bald and I'm going to be off on something else and I'm not going to get to that. So my brain won't let me stop that because if I do, I Jay said that years ago. We call it the red shiny ball, right? That one, just something distracted me, and now I'm onto that hyper focused, and then this gets left behind, and that's what kind of part of my issue, and I need to really work on that. And I think that I just need to set an alarm just to just get up and walk away and try my best not to get red shiny balled and pulled into a different direction, and just know that I got to come back. But that's part of mine, 100%. I get so hyper focused, and I'm afraid that if I stop, that red shiny ball moment's going to happen, and I'm going to be pulled in a different direction. That's part of ADHD.
yeah, when I'm cleaning my shop and stuff, I'll literally out loud say focus because I'll see something and I want to make something out of it. Got the idea. I'm like, okay, let me make this real quick. And I'm like, no, Crystal, focus. What are we
Focus,
trying to
exactly.
accomplish? But sometimes just saying out loud, you're like, okay, I get it. Supposed
Yeah,
to be doing X, Y, and Z and not this.
right.
But I'm the
Yeah.
same way, exactly, John. Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think that we all have a little bit of that. For both of us, it's even worse. Um, and like you said, you're not dealing with a screen all day, but you're still doing the same thing, right? And we're both guilty of that. We take that break that we're supposed to be intentionally helping ourselves. Then we have to refocus ourselves because let me do this real quick. We turn our break into more work, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Um, so do you find yourself and you'd mentioned on the podcast with Kindle, that you intentionally, this podcast has helped a lot with it, but do you find yourself, the store finally empties out, and you're supposed to be kind of taking that break, but then you're scrolling through social media or the phone or whatever, and you're not really getting that break?
No, I don't even have time for social media during the day usually. Sometimes I don't even get to post my work. Like I need to post like what I'm making on my business
Yeah.
page just so
Yeah.
people can see that there's new stuff. And I don't know if you've realized, but I post maybe once a week now
Yeah.
in my business, and I'm trying to get better at it because things are going to get slower. So that's mandatory that I start doing that daily again because that's
Yeah.
where I can get some business if there's nobody in the shop. So
Yeah.
this is my job is constantly switching gears of what I need to do to be successful all year long.
Mhm.
It's never the same, you know.
Right.
So right now I have plenty of time to get everything organized, but eventually I'm going to have to get on there and keep my business thriving.
I was just reminding myself that yesterday, when I looked at my other YouTube channel, not this one that the podcast is on, but my media channel. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I've been so busy with the business. I forgot about what got me the business in the first place. And I can't let that fall away. So I got to get on there and make some videos, because you don't know tomorrow what tomorrow brings. I've got a big client right now, but he could be like, yeah, you know what, this is not going to work the way I thought it was going to work, and we part ways, and now I'm back at square one again. So the same thing with you. Your business is about to start slowing down, so the only thing that keeps you going during that time is having that stuff out there. So yeah, we've got to constantly refocus ourselves and where things need to be, even in those busy times. You know what I mean? We gotta That's why I think taking those intentional breaks helps, because then we can refocus on, okay, what's important right now. We're killing it. Everything's going great, but we're letting other things fall to the wayside because we aren't taking those intentional times to refocus and take those breaks.
I know. I think what I'm going to start doing too, to be a little bit more mindful, I have been thinking about taking a yoga class like every week and just get it on my schedule, period, the end. I'm going no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that when you do yoga in the house, yes, it's perfect, it's great, but when you have to go outside of your home, you can't see the dust falls and the things that you need to do while you're trying to get yoga accomplished and be in your space. So like for me, I think starting to retrain my brain to like slow down, I think yoga might be the answer that I need out of my home, not
Yeah.
just in the living room. But I've been thinking about that a lot. Like I need to really find a new way to focus. I need to
Yeah.
stop. I'm going way too fast and I'm in this speed right now. I'm working every day from 6:30 in the morning to 8:30. I take 1 hour off, then I go and I work until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's like, I've got to scale back. I've got
Yeah.
to start getting myself back into order with my self care. And it's not that I don't do any self care, but I'm definitely not doing enough right now to
Right.
keep myself healthily managed. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, 100%, because I'm living it at this exact moment, and me and Cindy were just talking about it. Um, when I stopped going to the gym and I bought a treadmill here, and I got my workout equipment out in the garage. Um, the routine of leaving the house, going to a physical location is there's power behind that, because like you said, you're at home, there's distractions, there's other things, there's this, there's what we both kind of, you live above your business, but we both kind of work from home, right? So there's always work distractions, there's this, there's that, and sometimes we just have to bring that back and understand, what are those things. And this is where, this is why Living 95 is what it is. What's the smallest version that I can do right now? Right now, we're in the busy seasons of both of our lives. But what is the smallest thing, the smallest version of what I can do right now consistently, actually consistently? Maybe not an hour, maybe it's 5 minutes, but whatever. But what is that smallest thing that we both can do right now to better our physical, mental, emotional selves during the busy seasons of our lives? And that's kind of the whole purpose behind this conversation. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be sustainable, something small, right?
Right.
So, what's one for you, Crystal? And you kind of mentioned a few of them, but if you had to say right now, I'm going to commit to this one thing, what's one micro break that you could realistically start doing without changing your entire day?
I could probably take like an extra like 15 minutes and take the dog a walk and sit on the bench for a while. I was doing that for a while and I got away from it because I just felt like I couldn't get enough done in the mornings.
Yeah.
But I think that really started my day off on a different note. It was quiet. Yeah, I think that's probably something I really need to get back to. And it's going to start to get chilly, so it's going to be kind of fun to be bundled up and, walk down to the beach with the wind. And so I think that's what my thing will be. Just a 15-minute walk first thing in the morning.
I think that's going to be mine also, because we were talking, getting out of the house and actually walking. You're like, okay, so it's summer, it's too hot. Oh, it's winter, it's too cold. Well, you know what? We're getting into fall. This is the
Right.
perfect time to start it. And then, like you said, you get to winter. Okay, you've already started it. The process is going. Now you're bundling up. Everything's fine. But right now, for both of us, perfect time to get back out and just, 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be forever. Just get out,
Right.
move, breathe, take in the fresh air, get out of your store, get out of your little, office building, me get away from the screen, 15 minutes, just go walk wherever, you've got the beach right there. I can't really get that quickly to the lake, but walk around the block. There's a there's a boxer mix that I'm trying to convince Cindy I didn't think I wanted another dog, but we went to the APL the other day. We had some kittens that were abandoned by their mother, and one of them had disease in its eye, and they were so little, and we don't know anything about bottle feeding, kittens or anything. So I said, let's go to, Leary APL and let's get these things some help. While we're there, there's a boxer mix that's there that literally is laying in the corner. And then I walk up and she comes up to the glass and does one of these. And the first thing I heard in my head is that Sarah McLachlan song. So I told Cindy, I said, there's my excuse. Get out, walk the dog around the block, So I don't know. We probably won't because I don't need a dog, but that was such a nice dog.
It might be. Listen, I met this guy in my shop the other day. He was 84 years old, John, and I'm not joking you when I tell you he looked like he was 65. I said, "You're 80 what?" I said, "What is your trick?" He says, "I take my dog a walk twice a day. That's my trick." I said, "Well, I'm getting a whole herd of dogs."
Well, you got Emily's dog. Actually, Emily's dog, I'll have to send you a picture of my client Eric's dog. It's a former military dog, but it looks just like Emily's dog. I mean, they could be sisters or brothers or whatever, but
yeah, he's fun to walk sometimes, but he's really well trained for her, but he still likes to push it and see what he can get away with me. So sometimes he's walking me instead of me walking him.
She's the alpha. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, for sure.
So let's wrap this one up this week. What I'd like, here's our challenge for this week for anybody listening. We don't want you to overhaul your life, right? We don't want you to create another wellness checklist. We're not asking you to, rewrite anything. We're just asking you to take one moment of your day where you normally would push through and say, I gotta go, right? And I get it. We're always saying, push, but now I'm just saying, okay, if you're in that busy season and you're realizing that your personal care is slipping because of that, just take one moment, one intentional moment, and stop for a couple minutes instead. Breathe. If you're sitting in front of a computer, look away from your screen. If you're sitting in a back office building and working with customers all day, go outside and do a walk. But don't do nothing. And when I say don't do nothing, don't continue to do exactly what you're doing, because you're going to burn yourself out. And you're going to find that the thing that you've been striving your most to have, the thing that's been the driving force of your life, is going to become that thing that also is the detriment, right? So we got to find that balance. We got to live in that 95. We got to understand that during those times, we still have to find that small moment to take care of ourselves, because yes, when that slows back down, we have all that time, but what damage have we done during the time when we didn't take care of ourselves? So find that small moment, find that 5%, get out and just do something. Sometimes it means giving yourself permission just to stop. Sit down, close your eyes, just take 5 minutes. And if you're afraid, okay, well, I'm going to fall asleep and I'm not going to, set an alarm. Set a 5-minute alarm. Just sit down, put your head back, close your eyes, take 5 minutes for yourself, for your loved ones, for everybody. So you're not snapping, so you're not doing things you shouldn't, and so your blood pressure comes back down, so everything feels normal again. So this week, everybody, we just want you to take that 5 minutes, whatever that is. If it's 3, just take that moment away and just breathe. So as always, stay healthy.
Stay balanced.
And keep driving forward. We'll see you next time.